Many Soviet flags are flying in Berlin, notably on the Reichstag building, where the Red Army's banner of victory was hoisted yesterday afternoon. Pressing down towards the Tiergarten from the north, Marshal Zhukov's troops have also captured the Ministry of the Interior, which, like the Reichstag, stands very near the Unter den Linden. Other Soviet troops have also driven almost to the center of the city from the east. The German High Command communique, still issued nominally from Hitler's headquarters, opened this afternoon with these words: "In the heart of Berlin, the gallant garrison, closely gathered around the Führer, is defending itself in a reduced space against the superior Bolsheviks." That's the first time during the crisis, and probably the first time ever, that the Nazis have put Hitler into one of his own communiques. They go on to speak about the heroic struggle continuing under extremely heavy artillery fire and waves of attack from the air. There's no more talk of forces coming with relief from outside, so it looks as if the Nazis are preparing to write off both their Führer and their capital.
Welcome to the Reichstag outskirts, which is video 1 of what I anticipate and hope will be a pretty epic season, or series even, of Men of War videos. So, I'm playing as the Germans, which means that I'm going to be actively trying to defend this area against a Russian onslaught. Large map, which many of you have identified from the trailer, is from Men of War Assault Squad's single player. I've merely modified the map in places, made various bridges indestructible, etc., just for gameplay purposes and balancing issues. So I've modified the defences a bit for the Germans, added various sandbag emplacements, positions, trench lines and things. A lot of that was already in the map, but I've just sort of modified it. And this is what I'm calling the Reichstag. It's a representation, so certain things aren't necessarily authentic, such as the snow, which I understand wasn't around at the time of the real battle. So, as you can see, pretty formidable German defences here. We've got the Sturmtiger there on the right. Many of you may have noticed the Kol 4 on the left. Some heavy weapons, lots of rocket launchers, land mattresses as they're called, and just many German trenches, lines, many tanks. We'll come back to that. So these are the Soviet forces. Again, formidable force. Completely huge numbers of Soviet tanks, troops, artillery, Katyusha trucks, you name it. So let's just study the map for a moment. So this is the state of play, as you like. If you like, the blues are the Germans and the Soviets are the reds. Now, it doesn't look like there are many Soviets on the map based on that, but it's really because most of them are kind of just creeping on the outskirts of the map there. There's an army, basically, of Soviet troops, so the numbers are quite comparable. I think there's probably more attackers and defenders, which is standard. So we've got the bridges here. So these are the two main bridges. This is sort of like the first line of defence, really, for the Germans. You've got this initial river crossing. So there's a bit of a German position on the front of that river, but I don't expect to hold that for long. I'm going to try and pull those troops back. They're really just there as a bit of a token defensive force, sort of front line. So we've got a river there, and we've got a second river crossing here. So all those German troops in the middle there are kind of sandwiched in between two rivers. They're sort of like a pocket of defence, but it's a pretty solid pocket. I don't want to lose that. And we've got two bridges on the back there crossing the second river, and I think there's a little bit of a way through the middle as well, but the bridges are the main points forward. So this circle here is what I anticipate will be the sort of main bit of combat, the area, the sort of combat zone, if you like, for this particular video, outskirts. That's why I'm calling it outskirts, because the battle will be waging on the outskirts of the map. We're nowhere near the Reichstag for now. And my objective will be to defend that position, not let the Russians get beyond that, and to just hold that river, hold the front side of the river, hold the middle. As you can see, there are actually 3 bridges there, I forgot that, so we got the third bridge in the middle. Scroll along, so that's the city in between the two rivers. So that's my objective, is to hold that area at all costs. I do not want to lose that position. And I want to stress as well, I'm playing this with every intention of winning. So this is not, I'm not trying to be historically accurate here by letting the Russians win. I'm trying to defend the Reichstag. I may pull it off, I may not. Let's see.
Zu Befehl!
Russians are moving in.
Los, 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 Männer! Kämpft! Los, 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 Männer! Kämpft!
So huge Soviet barrage. I'm returning fire with barrage of rockets. So it's an utter kill zone right now, that front line. Veteran Tiger there's taken a beating, but he's still in the fight. So that central bridge has been destroyed. I've lost some infantry who were trying to hold that bridge. I didn't manage to pull those guys back in time. So, lost some guys there. Looks like the bridges are now open for the Russians to come across. I've lost my initial lines of defence, but I've got this Flak 88 position on the left and one on the right as well. Got various anti-tank guns set up. And I can still blitz from the rockets. Soviets are trying to get across this river now, moving in. So I can see them coming. They can't get across that central bridge now, that's destroyed, so they're going to have to flank on the left and the right. And like I say, I've still got that veteran Tiger in the fight, although he's damaged, and I think maybe the turret can no longer move. So it's probably no longer a unit I can really use properly. And that represents the main tank I've got right on the front there, the nearest to the Russians. So Russian infantry pouring in now. Looks like some artillery's opening up on me. Starting to pound the position a little bit. Try my best to not let them get across this bridge. So they're trying to, they're kind of forming up now, forming up on that side of the river, getting ready for a big push in. So the veteran Tiger there, I think he's just doing the fight. I've lost various artillery with cannons now as a result of a Soviet barrage. Flak 88 is still in the fight. I'm pounding that position now with rockets. Trying to defend two bridges at once here. Pretty tough. So Soviet armor's just starting to cross over the bridge now. T-34s rolling in. Along with some tank destroyers. Covering their advance with Katyushas. My Flak 88 crew have been killed, I think. I need to reinforce that flak. I've got some infantry here I can use. Flak 41. Get them over there. Huge barrage. Everything I've got is opening up on the Soviets now. Panthers, rockets, flaks. T-34s are trying to creep across the middle there. I'm laying waste to the Soviet tanks. Oh dear, Soviet barrages are starting to home in on my tanks here in the centre of the town. I lost a Hummel crew there. So So I've still got 3 Panthers, make that 4 Panthers on that line. Trying to consolidate my forces a little bit now. Oh! That was quite a loss, so I lost some of my launchers there. So I'm down to two rocket land mattresses. I've got a Flak 41 covering the far back flank there, overlooking the second river position. So that front line's pretty decimated now, and I don't think I've got the Veteran Tigers destroyed there. So I don't think I've got any more troops left anywhere near the first river, river number 1 if you like. So I'm conceding that position to the Soviets now, and I'm focusing my defence on the town, and I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure they don't get to the second river. I need to turn this into a bit of a kill box, prevent the Soviets from getting down these streets. Danger is as the Soviets get closer, they roll forward their Katyusha trucks and artillery, which means that I'm suddenly in range of their big guns, so I need to try and disable their big guns for my own artillery strikes. That's really the key here. Big push coming from the Soviets now. They're going to really test my defensive capability. So the combat is suddenly in view of those defending the Reichstag itself, just starting to creep into their line of sight. Ah dear, so I mean I'm getting barraged again by the Soviets. They're getting real close. Soviet forces are really pushing in now from that front river, river number 1. Really starting to establish a firm foothold there now, and the danger there is obviously that they're now pounding me with artillery and rocket strikes, and I'm losing tanks. They're starting to erode me, but oh shit! Okay, this is dangerous now. They're really homing in. Okay, 1 crew managed to survive that by the looks of it. So I've still got an ability there to launch my own barrage, but I'm starting now to rely on the various positions I've got on the other side of the second river, i.e. sort of Reichstag zone really. So I've got this second Hummel there. I don't think that's a Hummel actually, I think that's an elephant. No, it's not an elephant. Don't know what it is, but it's got a big gun. I'm going to try and get some shots downrange here against the T-34s moving in over that over the bridge on the right flank. See if I can get a shot off. Not like that, I'm not. Managed to hit a wall there, which is impressive. Oh! Okay, well I got schooled there by some Soviet armour. Out of nowhere. Taken out. So, I've got a Panther here on the left flank. Just shooting up the infantry as they move in. Laying down some MG fire. So the Soviets no longer really are being contested now, crossing over river number 1. I'm occasionally hitting them with a barrage or two, but it's pretty weak now if I'm honest. I'm being eroded quite substantially. And I'm considering now conceding this whole area of the map and pulling back to focus my defences on the Reichstag itself. But I don't want to do that. I'm not going to try and take back this area, but I'm going to try and keep the Russians pinned in. So it's dangerous. I've got these Panther tanks, but I don't really want to expose them to the street because the Soviets now have some formidable anti-tank equipment overlooking the flanks. I got some, I think, IS-152 tank destroyers. And that's what happened a second ago with one of mine. I don't really want to duel with those. Now, I do have a King Tiger, but that's back on the other side of river number 2, and I don't really want to deploy that yet. I want to save that unit. So the Panthers are all I've got. Oh, shit. The Soviets are really lining up now. They're just really desperate to get over this river and attack me head on. The only thing that's keeping them back is my artillery barrages. Lost a Panther there against that Katusha barrage. Well, the Katyushas have successfully decimated my left flank now. This might be a foolish move, but I'm just going to attempt to regain a little bit of ground, really just to prove to myself that I can do it. So I'm rolling forward this Panther on the right flank. I'm going to try and do a little bit of an extreme flanking move here. Perhaps just try and catch those T-34s by surprise and make it clear to them that they haven't captured the area yet. So there we can see I'm just moving in, trying to re-establish myself here on the right flank. T-34 there, I'm going to try and get on the left. More coming through on that bridge on the right. I'm going to take my pick, really. Kind of scary sight seeing the amount of Soviet armour pouring in. Oh dear, okay, this is probably something I should have expected. As soon as my Panther's in range, the Russian artillery opens up. So they've essentially covered their flanks. The artillery's doing its job. And it's not going to let me sneak up on the tanks there, is it? So my flak the extreme range there is doing some damage. I've got an elephant there. He's in range. I'm going to fall back to the Sturm Tiger, get a long range shot off there. Look at that, here we go. Didn't really achieve much, if I'm honest, but it just told the Soviets quite firmly that if they get any closer, I'm gonna lay waste to them. Well, at least that's the idea. So this town has, well, it started off as a pretty nice area and it's become a utter waste ground now of rubble, corpses and destroyed vehicles. Okay, my decision's made, I'm pulling back. I just lost my final land mattress on that side of River 2. So I'm conceding this area to the Soviet forces, I'm pulling back, consolidating my units to defend the main area where, to be fair, most of my forces are lined up. This was just an aim I had to not lose this area, but didn't really work out that way. So let's see if I can get this Panther back, that would be good. Last units across the line. Fuck you! Who did that? I've still got turret, I can still return fire. Where did that come from? And I'm pounding them now with my second line of rockets. Oh, okay. Panther's out, crew's dead. Burning away there. Don't know what got the Panther, but I think it's obvious that I've lost that side of the river now. So I'm pulling back the infantry. They're going to reinforce this trench line. Still got some more there. I need to pull those guys back. So I'm retreating essentially. There's no other word for it. Giving up this side of the river. So the last few troops have now crossed over, which means that I have no units left in that central part of the map. And there was a tough fought battle that, but I lost. I mean, the Soviets took control of the area, but I hit them pretty hard and they lost a hell of a lot of numbers, hell of a lot of tanks and infantry. So maybe they lost too many in order to advance any further, who knows. Oh, what am I doing? So I'm going to try and just fire a couple of shots off here with this anti-tank gun I've got, just overlooking the approach there. See if I can hit a couple. So I had some infantrymen there, I tried to pull back but he couldn't make it unfortunately. Bit of a... Yeah, he was left behind, so he kind of got stuck behind enemy lines a bit. There we go. Oh! Well, I hit something, but as soon as I did, they opened up on me. Countermeasures just responded immediately, essentially, and just blew me away. So I can't be doing that again. So just pulling back these guys who's a little bit too close to the front line, I guess. I just want to pull them back a little bit more. So there you go. I've got my King Tiger there lined up. You may have just spotted. So the map. As you can see, I've still got a healthy number of troops, but I've lost a lot of ground. The question is, can the Soviets continue their advance, or can I now keep them pinned down and prevent them from gaining any closer? So I hope you enjoyed the Reichstag outskirts. Stay tuned for part 2, where I will continue my desperate attempt to defend this area, and with each loss and slight area of ground I have to concede, I get slightly more angry, slightly more desperate. So I think I may get pretty emotional at some point, who knows. So there's the officer in charge, VIP. He will be the last man standing. Well, hopefully it won't get to that, but we never know. So stay tuned.